Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this executive decision-making session for the executive leader, and that is me, and I'm Councillor Claire Douglas. So if we go to the agenda for this morning, it's Wednesday the 23rd of April. First item on the agenda is apologies. We have no apologies. Declarations of interest is item number 2. There are no declarations of interest either. I have no interest in this particular issue. Item number 3 is to approve and sign the minutes of the previous decision session, and that was held on March the 19th. And I can confirm that these minutes are an accurate record of that meeting, so I will sign those at the end of the meeting and hand them forward to you. Item number 4 is public participation, and we have one person who is speaking this morning who's joining us remotely, and that is Flick Williams. Flick, can you hear us?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. So you have, as you know, 3 minutes, and as you've requested, there'll be no 30-second warning. So you'd like to speak on item number 5, so please go ahead.
I believe this is the wrong decision. Here's why. Firstly, social media platforms all have pros and cons, but there are elements of this report that amount to nothing more than pearl clutching. Naming a specific individual's presence on a platform is astonishing to me. It gives the people who spout harmful content the very publicity you would seek to deny them. But then, as we witnessed at the last full council, we seem to be having some problems with free speech in any case. Not allowing open debate and permitting elected members to condemn themselves with their own words is a fast route to authoritarianism. There are legal limits to free speech, but where these are not breached, we must be permitted to hear people's views in order to arrive at our own conclusions. And I come to this with some experience. When president of the Students' Union at the university, it passed a policy of no platform, which the university then sought to remove as it breached the university's charter. The policy was defeated by the student body before it went to the High Court. But what sticks in my mind is all the debates where those seeking to defend no platforming, those deemed to hold offensive views, would ask permission to break the policy to allow them to quote such people, just so everyone could hear how awful were the things they said. Nonsensical. And in terms of being consistent, why doesn't the council stop engaging with the York press? It allows people in press comments to hide behind pseudonyms, spewing hatred and bile, and yet the company refuses to cooperate with police over actual hate speech. But my main objection is this: the accompanying equalities impact assessment, which I received 45 minutes ago, is a joke. To write under disability, reduced exposure to harmful or inaccessible content is infantilizing and paternalistic rubbish. X is by far the most accessible of all the social media platforms. It is able to be used by those who use screen readers, and use of alt text describes images. It hosts a massive community of disabled people with subgroups within, where people with specific impairments, who are COVID informed, are vaccine injured, or are fighting disability benefit cuts, inaccessibility of the built environment, or transport barriers, can find one another and come together for mutual support and information sharing. And it's a two-way street. This report is framed in terms of the council getting its message out to the community, but there is no mention of the ease with which we can make the council aware of issues with photographic evidence of obstructive parking, scaffolding that prevents egress for disabled people, improperly conducted street works, and countless other issues. Relying upon X only to get information out in the event of an emergency situations won't work either. The algorithm rewards those who post frequently, so it's unlikely to appear on people's feeds. But as always, the decision already made. Thank you.
Thank you for your input and comments there, and they will certainly be considered and thought about, and also as you've highlighted, this should be an ongoing process of reviewing the council's communications methods, which we will be going through in the next 12 months or so. So yes, I do appreciate the points that you've raised. Thank you for that. Right, next item then is item number 5, which is the plan for CYC to cease sharing information on X, formerly known as Twitter. And we have Jonathan Byrne here, who's interim head of communications, to introduce the paper. So Jonathan, please go ahead.
Thank you, Leader. And so we're bringing this paper today about no longer using X, formerly known as Twitter, in response to the significant changes that have happened with the platform over the past 12 months around its functionality, its credibility and reach. They have removed independent fact-checking since the takeover a few years ago, and this has amplified misinformation and helped promote divisive content. The changes that have happened are increasingly at odds with the council values of inclusion, trust and respectful communication, and don't fit with the way that the council plan 23-27 wants the council to communicate. Research that we've done on resident engagement has found that the council content on X has sharply declined, and that limits its effectiveness. We've also done some research through our budget consultation that shows that a number of only 8% would rather receive their information through X as opposed to other channels. And there's also a commitment through this report to look at other ways that the council can reach residents more readily and with using their own communications channels.
Thank you, Jonathan. So could you just tell me a bit about the incident communications and how X could be used beyond if we make this decision for other purposes? Thank you.
So we spoke to a number of different organisations, both regionally as part of the North Yorkshire Local Resilience Forum within the city itself, and also other local authorities around the country who have taken this move to stop posting general content on X and just use it as an emergency communications channel because of the readiness that we can use the hashtagging system to make people aware of an emergency that's going on within the city. And this has been something that organisations use to keep the account open, which means people can still interact and engage with the council. But although the council won't be sending anything out, it will have Silver Command status will say that we should use this as an an emergency channel in an incident. So they will be the ones that would advise us when this needs to take place. So then we would then be proactively using the team to engage on that channel during the emergency, but only for the emergency. And then we would close that down with a post and let everybody know that we were returning to business as usual.
Thank you for that explanation. I'd like to draw everybody's attention to the recommendations that are on page 10. So I am invited to consider the content of the report and approve the council no longer shares information on its corporate X account at City of York unless directed by Silver Command. And B, if approval is received for point 9A, approve the plan to encourage residents to register for information or follow other council social media channels whilst closing all council X accounts that do not respond to an incident. And before I make the decision, I would just like to highlight some of the aspects that Jonathan has already mentioned, but also that the report highlights. So X has changed the way that it fact checks and moderates as well, and also its algorithms and how it disseminates information. And it has led to an increase in misinformation and harmful content over the past year or so. And it is felt that this is, as Jonathan has outlined, it not in alignment with the council's policy on communication and our commitment to fairness and openness. But we do understand that this is a platform that is used by some people, but our our consultation has shown that actually it's only 8% of people who receive or prefer to receive their communications from the council through X. And there are a number of other forms of communication that sit much higher than that in people's usage. And so if you look within the report, you can see on page 12 at the paragraph 13 quite how people are communicating with the council. And so at the top with 50% is resident updates, going through our website, collaboration with local media, Facebook, public meetings. So the top level of resident updates is 50% of people, and Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, sits way down the table with only 8% of people actually looking to communicate with the council through that way. So we do feel that given the shift in how Twitter X operates, and also the relatively low usage and engagement through X with the council, that moving to a situation where it's used for emergency communications only is a reasonable way to go. And so we will continue to keep this under review, and other communication methods under review as well over the coming period. And so going back to those recommendations at paragraph 9 on page 10, I can confirm that I approve the council no longer shares information on its corporate X account unless directed by Silver Command, and that would be in an emergency situation. So that's paragraph A. And at B, therefore, as I have approved A, that I need to approve the plan as well to encourage residents to register for information or follow other council social media channels, whilst closing all council X accounts that do not respond to an incident. So that will be a process that will start and continue, and I that's the end of my decision. So thank you everybody for joining us today, and just going back to the agenda. Item number 6 is urgent business, and I have no urgent business, so that brings the meeting to a close. Thank you for joining.